I'm back. Solitude is a dry snitch. Guys, welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. These last couple of weeks I've been away from you guys. I've been spending a lot of time in solitude, but also in the company of people that have reminded me the importance of solitude in a very healthy way. If you take anything from this episode, and what I'm about to say to you right now, this is going to save you so much energy exhaustion. Be willing to meet inconsistency with unavailability. And I don't want to generalize and speak for everybody, but I'm going to use my experiences. What I've noticed about inconsistent people is that their existence in my space and how they show up is determined by what they're seeking or their level of conditions or their convenience. That doesn't work for me. And when you're in solitude and when you take time to be by yourself, you get to know yourself a little bit more. But also too, solitude forces you to energetically stand still. And what I mean by that is when you're not constantly exchanging energy with other people, you get to understand where your energy has been going. Personally, lately, I've been forced to really hunker down and take care of myself. I've been forced to understand where I've been expending my energy and if it was being reciprocated or not. I've been forced to recognize the person that I am and own that. We stop labeling things a good person or a relatively good person or a bad person or things like that. And you just look at a person's consistency and behavior and their patterns and their intention when they treat you, or their intention when they show up for you, or their intention when they're existing in your life. Safe to say I have a pretty good track record. And because of that, I realize that it's important that I be a lot more selective, a lot more intentional, and a lot more discretional, a lot more discerning when it comes to just how I exist. For my mental health, for my emotional health, for my physical health. There are so many ways to exhaust yourself, and what I've understood for me personally, I've exhausted myself trying to sustain or find a balance in a relationship where the other person was not looking to balance it out. So once you get serious about your mental health, once you get serious about your relationship wealth, a lot of things are going to start to change. And once you learn that your reputation will prove who you are, your consistency will prove who you are, because I have strangers who don't know me and know me. I have strangers who haven't met me but know about me and how I move. And that's because I'm consistent. And you hear a lot of times, match people's energy. Don't match someone's energy if that's not who you are. Do not become the person that you're not. For what? Your goal is to find energy that aligns with you, and anything that does not align with you, you move away from. If you're the kind of person, you're intentional and you are who you say you are and you show up as the person you say that you are, you have nothing to explain to somebody who's constantly showing you that they don't value who you are and how you present yourself. I've learned to stop explaining myself. I've learned to stop feeling like I've had to apologetically step away from places where I was just not being handled properly. And again, taking good or bad out of it, that doesn't matter. Good or bad is irrelevant. It's the simple fact of what works and what doesn't, what feels good and what does not. If this doesn't feel good to me, then why am I entertaining it? Your kindness needs insurance. Now, boundaries are not necessarily to cut people off or rid people of your life. Boundaries is to protect yourself and also to protect the other person. Because if there is this ability to tread wherever, whenever, however, that creates a lot of damage, and how someone may respond may not always be what the other person is expecting, right? The importance of communication, what I've learned is that in order to have healthy communication, there needs to be a healthy level of comprehension. Because you could communicate what's important to you, you could communicate how something makes you feel, but if a person is not willing to comprehend that, or if they're not able to comprehend that, then nothing changes. If someone does not see an issue with how they move through life because they haven't gotten feedback from others or it just works for them, it's not up to you to convince them that you deserve to be treated well. It is not up to you to prove to someone how loyal you can be despite how inconsistent they are with you. I've learned to stop trying to prove myself to people who already see me. What I've done instead is allowed people to prove who they are and how they're willing to show up in my life. The goal is to know yourself so you can see others. Don't go out to the world eager to get to know people when you don't know yourself completely, because you will always get caught up in a weird exchange when you're not sure exactly what's going on, because you don't know yourself. You don't know what you're receptive to. You don't know what you need. You don't know what you desire. You don't know what you deserve. Start looking at things objectively or practical. Does this feel good to me? Oh, it doesn't? All right, so what are we doing? Did I communicate? I did. Did things change? They did or didn't? All right. How do I change now? Solitude is all about having a willingness to understand yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and see how that reflects in life outside of you. I've had to really put down a lot of inconsistent exchanges simply because I needed to balance myself out. I needed to have balance in my life because I needed to take care of myself. Mental health, I drive that point home so much because we overlook how that filters out into the rest of the world. We overlook how it affects us. We overlook how it influences how we move or how we don't move. It's about being who you are when no one's looking. It's about saying and showing who you are when you think no one's watching or there's nothing to gain from the situation. You have nothing to prove to people who've constantly proven to you that they don't value who you are. Prove to them that you are very capable of walking away despite how much you care about them, because you care about yourself more. Reduce your exposure to the things that are causing you stress. Boundaries. While people don't always verbally express how they truly feel, they will show you through their body language. They will show you through their actions. They will show you through their patterns. There's always communication happening. It's just how do you comprehend and how do you understand it? And yes, there's grace and there's all those things, giving people grace, but it is not your job to sit around and wait for somebody to decide when they're going to value you. Sometimes it's better to go your own way and grow. Let this other person do their thing, because you're not subjected to their recklessness when it comes to how they treat you. When your energy is depleted, you have to, one, not give so much of yourself. And it shouldn't take you being depleted completely to learn how to be a little bit more selfish. It shouldn't take you running on E to understand that there are certain relationships in your life that just don't deserve what you have to give. Yeah, like I said, I've been learning a lot, and the reason why I've been learning so much is because of solitude, and I've been energetically depleted. And when I was depleted, I realized where was, or who was pouring back into me, and who was just extracting, and who just didn't care either way. And you have to be okay with seeing the truth of relationships, even if it means that relationship can no longer exist in your life. But to do better, you're going to have to do better, and you're going to have to be intentional about it. So that's what I have for you guys. You do not have to keep proving who you are to people who already see you. You just have to let them prove to you whether or not the relationship is worth sustaining. And prove to yourself how good you're willing to be when it comes to you. Hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you guys take care of yourself. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Pride Month. Happy leveling up and just shining despite what it is that you've been experiencing in your life, because that always deserves recognition, support, accolade, and someone rooting for you. I'm rooting for you guys. We all win. We all eat. All right, take flight.